I definitely have that journey of knowing when I was very little, just maybe not having words for it until I was a little older, but definitely the crushes I had and whatnot were dudes for sure. And then when I started acting when I was 8, so fairly young, and that really opened up a whole world for me that I didn't quite know existed. My sister had done theater, and so I saw her. She's older than me, so I saw her growing up doing it, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to do that. And when I got into it, I was like, oh, I think this is where my voice could be heard in a way that my siblings had ministry. I was like, I feel how they spoke about ministry, that's how I felt about theater. And so I felt almost like it was my own spiritual space and kind of sacred sanctuary almost, in the midst of feeling very not so safe, I guess, in that other church environment.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the Left of Straight Show interviews. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and I'm so excited today to welcome the incredibly talented Tyler Isaac Martins in studio with me. He's an award-winning New York City-based actor, writer, director, creator. He does it all. His work blends sharp humor, queer identity, emotional honesty, and just the right amount of beautiful, awkward chaos. Tyler's best known for creating, writing, and starring in the hit LGBTQ comedy series Don't Suck, which recently returned with its second season and continues to explore the lives, insecurities, ambitions, friendships, and messy inner monologue of queer creatives trying to make it in New York City. It's funny, it's smart, it's uncomfortable in all the right ways, and deeply relatable for anyone who's ever wondered, am I doing this right? Beyond Don't Suck, Tyler's made his mark as a filmmaker and performer. With his short film Candace, he wrote, directed, and starred in, earning Best Actor honors at both the Richmond International Film Festival and the New Jersey International Web Festival. He's also appeared in off-Broadway productions and readings, including work at the Soho Playhouse, and uses the creative platform to give back, raising more than $30,000 for charity through his stage play Bonded. He's a true multi-hyphenate storyteller, and today we're going to talk all about queer comedy, creating your own work, surviving the New York grind, season 2 of Don't Suck, and what it means to build a career refusing to wait for permission. Please welcome to the show for the first time, the very handsome, the very talented Mr. Tyler Isaac Martin. Tyler, how we doing, boss?
Great, Scott, especially after that. I need to just play that on loop every morning for myself. That was
There you
nice.
go. You need a hype machine? I got it for you, babe. We'll send
Yeah.
it on over. It is all good. I am so excited to talk to you. I told you off air, I was a huge fan of the first run of the series, Don't Suck, first season. And now you're back for season 2. Been a bit of a time lapse in there in between, but wow, what a difference. I don't know what you and Ricky and everyone learned, but you guys are killing it this season. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Talk to me about starting out, though. I always like to start at the beginning, talking about your journey. Were you born and raised in New York? And talk to me about the LGBTQ of it all. When did you first kind of come out to yourself, and when did you start finding your creative and LGBTQ tribe?
Very far from New York. I grew up in a small Texas town. Are you ready for it? It's called White Settlement, which is still a place in 2026. Pretty wild. And it's basically what it sounds like. We had a Brahms, a Goodwill, we had a Walmart, but the Walmart moved. So there you go.
When you lose
That's
Walmart, you're in trouble as a town, that's for sure.
it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. So I grew up in a family of ministers, though. I'm one of 6 kids. I number 5. I was the very first of my family not to pursue ministry in some way or marry a minister. And And so I grew up in this conservative environment, Church of Christ, if anyone out there knows of that Christian denomination. I always say it's basically Southern Baptist, but just a little worse. And so not exactly the best for a queer kid. But fast forward in time, I knew I was gay pretty early on. I definitely have that journey of knowing when I was very little, just maybe not having words for it until I was a little older,
Right.
but definitely the crushes I had and whatnot were dudes for sure. And then when I started acting when I was 8, so fairly young, and that really opened up a whole world for me that I didn't quite know existed. My sister had done theater, and so I saw her. She's older than me, so I saw her growing up doing it, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to do that. And when I got into it, I was like, oh, I think this is where my voice could be heard in a way that my siblings had ministry. I was like, I feel how they spoke about ministry, that's how I felt about theater. And so I felt almost like it was my own spiritual space and kind of sacred sanctuary almost, in the midst of feeling very not so safe, I guess, in the other church environment. And so, uh, and I stayed in theater pretty hardcore. I was a big theater kid. I worked so White Settlement is kind of a suburb of Fort Worth. So Dallas Fort Worth area. There's a ton of beautiful theater there. Still amazing theater, people doing some great work. And I was having privilege growing up getting to work with a lot of great people there, people my age, but then also in adult productions. And so it was a lovely experience. I came out at 16 eventually for a boy, as one does. And it was not a great experience, not great. And then mainly because of the religious
Sure.
background stuff. But fast forward from a lot of turmoil, angry, upsetting years, get to college, and I took a biblical literature class my freshman year, something that was kind of important to me at the time. And what it really transformed how I had thought of everything up to that point. I was first generation with computer, internet, cell phones, and I used them as a kid. Like I remember a memory from when I was like 10, Googling like, is being gay a sin? And like trying to figure it out on my own.
Right.
And so when I came in at 16, I was like, "Oh, I'm like prepped and ready for this interaction. I'm going to come in with all this stuff about how much God still loves me." And it was not received. And something I didn't quite expect at the time was no matter how much research you do, no matter how good you feel about yourself, if the other people are not going to listen, then there's just nothing to be had. And so it took me in that class, though, realizing like, all of that research is great and it's good to know and good for myself. But ultimately, for better or worse, what people care about is themselves and what reflects on them and their own personal journey. And so in that class, I was able to look around and we had a really diverse class. And so a lot of different perspectives. And from that, I took that basically I made a packet. This basically tells who I am as a person. I made a packet for my parents of 3 different sections. The first section was using the Bible, basically arguing, against homosexuality, against women, against people of color, pro-slavery, all the things that are bad in the Bible, basically. And then the second section, I flipped it and used it to advocate for queer life, for women, for all the things. And then the last section was my section. I was like, "This is what I actually believe, based on these things." Sent it to them, told them I was gonna come out publicly thinking that was gonna possibly be the end of my relationship with them, but I just wanted to wash my hands of making sure I tried my damnedest to keep a relationship. And to my surprise, though, that completely flipped everything around,
Yes.
and they could not be more supportive now. They love my partner, Enrique, and just I mean, they watch Drag Race, I think, more than I do. And so it is a huge turnaround. Most of my family isn't even involved in church anymore. No one's a minister in the same way. it really put a ripple in my family in a great way. I think in at times really hard, but definitely not easy, but worth it in the end. So that is my long-winded answer to your first question.
But I love it. I mean, the magic behind a good PowerPoint situation. I love that. Such an amazing story, and I love because you really don't know what's happening, right? As you said, you come up in this religious background, you don't know how people are going to react, and I'm so happy they kind of rallied around behind you. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's super.
I'm very proud of them. They definitely are a great example of how people can change, what kind of brainwashing religion and just like Southern culture, American culture can do to you. But they show that people can change and you can learn different perspectives no matter how old or where you are in life.
And when you think about it, it's really what the church is supposed to be about, right? Loving your neighbor and loving your fellow man. I mean, that's what it's all about. So how good of pastors are they to be able to take that lesson and learn it and share it with others, whether they stay in the ministry or not? That's amazing on them. So I love hearing that.
I know. I mean, I joke with them that I weirdly enough became a minister after going through all of that with them. And then also I definitely do think of creativity as like a form of spirituality for me. It's something very sacred for sure. And so there's something in that that I feel like I didn't become a minister, but there's something a little in that that I relate to.
Right. And talk about the hyphenatingness of it all. I mean, actor, writer, director, producer, you've done it all. How do you describe yourself as an artist? I mean, there's so many ways to really share that craft. What brings out the most joy in you, and how would you describe yourself?
I love wearing multiple hats. I use the term multi-hyphenate as a badge of honor. I love being able to do multiple things. I think it's such its own specific skill set in and of itself, and it's something that I've worked years on doing. And so, um, yeah, I'm very proud of that, and I really enjoy doing multiple things. I will say that acting was my first love and will always probably be top tier for me. However, I I love writing. I love directing. I really love it all. Ultimately, I think that out of anything that I do creatively, it is about reaching people in some kind of way. And if I can spark conversation, if I can bring back an old memory, if I can create change in some kind of way, then I've done what I wanted to do. And so that is kind of across the board. Of I feel like I have been capable of doing that in each role, and and as long as I am trying for that and I'm having fun and being nice in the process, then I feel like it's a job well done, I guess.
Well said. And I mean, don't suck. Like I said, I found this, and I can't believe the first season was aired 8 years ago to millions of followers. I mean, at the time, I started my podcast 10 years ago, and I was like the go to guy for web series at the time. So it's like there was so many actors were having trouble getting work. So everyone started creating their own projects. It was really awesome. And I think that's how I came across you back there in 2018. Talk to me about what was the impetus of creating your own web series?
Yeah, I kinda sorta different than maybe the typical. I was new-ish to New York. I'd been here a couple of years, and I was successful at the time in New York. I booked my first off-Broadway show my second week in the city, so I was like, "Oh, I got this thing." It's like this is easy and chill, cool. So I was feeling good about myself, and then I booked my second show, a year after that. I was in both of those a year. So that was basically my first 2 years was working off Broadway in these 2 shows. And as fun and as exciting as that was, in the middle of that second year, I started to question things as far as fulfillment and was I reaching people? Like my last answer, was I doing that? Was I fulfilling that want and dream in myself of really making an impact other than just pure entertainment, which has its own impact and I'm all for it for sure, but that's not necessarily what I sought out to do. And so I was like, is it really doing anything good in the world? And I sat down with that for a little bit. I came to the conclusion that I did not believe it was and that I needed to change something. And so in college, I had written, and I directed in college. I got an emphasis in directing. I went to school for musical theater, but did get an emphasis in directing. And so I had done that work, but I had written a little, but not that much. Definitely nothing that I put out. And so I it was right at the start of the web series boom, and I had a thought of, oh, interesting, that could be a route for me. And I kind of got inspired by like a few notes. I always kept notes of like random ideas that I thought maybe I'll write someday. So I gathered these notes and I ended up writing a solo theater show. So not Don't Suck. Completely finished it. It had original music. It was like a very in-depth thing. But once I got to the end and was thinking about actually doing it, I didn't feel like it was right. I didn't think it was the right format. I wasn't, and especially since right then I was in search of like purpose and what felt right. I was like, why am I going to make this thing and do it even if I don't think it feels right? That doesn't make any sense. So let me think on this. And then I was like, oh, duh, web series. Let me rework this thing. And so I reworked it as a web series. Had no business doing that because I had never written for film, directed film, basically anything for film. So Don't Suck season 1 is me learning filmmaking in real time in public. And so, but the result was so exciting and cool because what came from me searching for purpose and wanting to share big ideas and themes and questions that I had with the world resulted in this show that I think people will relate to in those exact ways. And so, yeah, Don't Suck season 1 feels very charming, wholesome, and very special to me in retrospect now.
Nice. And I love the integrity of what you were saying. I mean, just to be true to yourself as an artist. A lot of artists have trouble with that. I mean, after suffering for so long and you get an offer for a paycheck, it's kind of hard to turn that down no matter what the project is. So when you're making stuff for yourself, it's even more scary and harder to have that integrity. So I really admire that. Excuse me. I mean, the series follows this group of people in New York City. How much of it came from real life experience and how much was just adding that heightened comedy to it?
I'd say it's inspired, however, really changed on the page. Initially, of course, there were very specific moments, I'd say, from my own life that were starting in the process. But as I continue writing and fleshing out these characters, it morphs so much to where it almost feels trivial to say it's based on anything of my life. It is so different. But I definitely relate a lot to it, is kind of how I like to phrase it now, I guess. Even to Tyler, like we have obviously character's name is Tyler, but we have a lot of core differences and some similarities though. Some things I love about him, some things I don't love about him. Human being. But yeah, it is fun. Second season is specifically fun for that reason though. The first season, I only knew one of the lead cast members going in. We held auditions. We treated it like a real big project, you know? So I didn't know the lead cast pretty much. And now the second time around, I got to write for them. And now I know them well and I know, their strengths and how to even punch them even higher. And so that's been very exciting actually. And also just honing my own voice. I've written so much since season 1 of Don't Suck, and I'm a more accomplished writer, filmmaker, all the things. And so being able to return to that original work is been really exciting in those ways.
Nice. And we will definitely get to the cast because your cast is amazing. But I want to talk about what you just said in coming to season 2 for this because it's amazing. I mean, we all remember web series, those of us that have been in this business for any amount of time as an actor, even as a podcaster. It's like services will be on Susie's house and you'll be the spare bedroom for this thing. And it's put together with the shoelace. And you and your partner, Enrique, put this thing together, and it was so much fun. The writing kind of brought it together. But now I'm watching season 2, and I told you off air, I think Enrique got a degree in DP work or visuals on there. The look is absolutely amazing. The feel of it is so much more polished. Talk about that upgrade from season 1 to season 2. You guys did a fantastic job.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, where to start? I mean, season 2, some of the reasons for the pause were that season 1 had a lot of interest and a lot of interest is the way to say it, yeah, from streamers, producers, etc. What happens when that happens is that you wait, and it becomes a waiting game. And then during that time, obviously, pandemic strikes of all different kinds. We're also busy artists outside of Don't Suck, so there's been so many other projects and things happen in between. And coming back to Don't Suck, I kind of had this idea, I don't know, somewhere in the latter parts of the pandemic that I was like, why are we waiting again? We own 100% of this. So
Right.
we can kind of do whatever we want with it, right? And I started talking to him about it, Enrique, and I was like, if we're gonna do it though, I don't want it to be a web series anymore. I want to make an indie TV series. I want to do full length episodes. I want to up the stakes. I want to up production. I want to up everything. Bigger cast, bigger everything. And he said yes because he loves me. And I went to ask the lead cast. I was like, would you all be down to do this if we were to try? And they were like, yeah. Everyone was very excited. So I was like, okay, then let's do this. I'm gonna write this thing. So I completely scrapped the second season that was already written and started anew with the idea that we were gonna do it ourselves and that I wanted them to be full length episodes and all that goodness. And honestly cannot overstate being nice and just asking for things that you need as an artist is
Yeah.
kinda as simple as it is. It's not easy, but simple in that regard, and also really treating this like I don't know, I feel like there's so many shows in all regards, in theater and film and dance, anything, where you have projects that are purely for fun, that are just a group of friends getting together and having a great time, and then you have projects that have specific meaning and you have almost the project transcends the creators, essentially. And that's what I wanted to do. And so when we did this second season, we kept that intact and the cast is crazy. The cast is so amazing and we have so many wonderful new leads, but then also incredible cameos and just the amount that we were able to pull off. I mean, they always say some of the hardest locations to get for film are theaters and churches, two of which we have in this season. And it's just it really does. It's a testament to community. It's a testament to people coming together for a common cause. I think Don't Suck has such a universal message that people care so much about the idea of being seen, idea of validating one another. And so it just makes sense for people to come together for this show.
You have to have a full out rented storage locker for all the Dorian Gray photos. None of you guys look like you've aged a day. I mean, it's just amazing that it looks, the continuity is amazing. Katie as Alex is amazing. Sushant as Ben. David as Greg. You have all of them back. They all look amazing, yourself included. Talk about writing season 2, though. You said it's from scratch. Do you feel more freedom because the characters are established now? Or is there more pressure because you have some expectations on yourself?
I think a little bit of both,
Hmm.
for sure. I had a lot of fun writing this season, though, I'd say, especially coming off the coattails of my plays that I had just written. So my my plays are much heavier, much more dramatic, trauma informed, and so coming back to Don't Suck almost felt cathartic and a release. My writing style, I often say, is subversive. I love to tackle big subjects, but camouflage them as a pee joke or or what have you. But when you really strip down the scene, it's like, okay, yeah, sure, there's a lot of potty humor in this one scene, but it's actually talking about relationships and spirituality and being seen and all these things. And so I that's how I love to write. And so I think when coming from those plays that I worked on that were so heavy, it felt so nice to be able to still tackle these massive themes, but with theater puns. I mean, I can't tell you how the amount of work I put into all the theater puns in the first episode, but it was so delightful to work on and so exciting. And also, yeah, I think like with the cast, it was a dream because getting to again just highlight the amazing talents they all are. The cast is so
Excuse me.
bless you. The cast is so brilliant and I'd say easy to write for. We were so established from season 1. Everyone is so distinct, and so it did feel easy in that regard of knowing where to go. I think the biggest shift in the season was the show. The show within the show changed.
Right.
So part of the ambition was creating a show within the show. Originally, it was a play, and then that eventually changed into a musical, which is so wild and absurd that we wrote and filmed an original musical, but here we are. So yeah, I think getting just to expand though was really exciting. Getting to work with Peyton Millett is the writer of the music and lyrics of the musical Within, and that was really exciting to collaborate in that way. Even Enrique and I, just on such a grander scale, getting to work together. I'm so fortunate to have a partner. He and I work together all the time, and definitely my closest collaborator. And it's such a joy to get to work with him. And I'm so proud of the work that he did on this and so thankful and grateful for him. And even, I mean, your compliments to him getting to show off how he's grown. I think that's what was so exciting, just getting to show off everyone.
Such a great job. The writing is fantastic. I love the entire premise. I've seen the first 2 episodes along with everybody else on YouTube. And you talk about guest stars. I mean, Emmy Award winning actors are coming on your show, my friend. We have Jeff Hiller joining, who is just hilarious outside of this. I haven't seen what he's doing yet, but amazing job bringing these people in. And it's due to the writing, it's due to the fact that you've built this family on set. But also, I think web series and micro series like this for television are such a unique place for LGBTQ characters, right? I mean, it doesn't have all those constrictions of broadcast TV. Talk about that and what makes it a little easier for you to get these people on board and to create the series in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, it's a celebration of being children, messing up and trying to grow up a little each day. I think that's kind of essentially the show, especially the season. And all artists relate to that to an extent, and they see themselves in the work for sure. And so getting to work with Jeff, oh gosh, I when we moved to the city, I saw Jeff pretty early on in a UCB show doing improv. And I have said to several people, if you have not seen Jeff Hiller perform improv, I question if you have seen improv. It is just next level. He's so gifted with improv. It's insane. And during season 1 of Don't Suck, he was in a web series at the same time, called West 40s, and I believe and so we crossed paths during season 1, and that's kinda how we connected initially, and I was so elated to reach out to him and even more elated that he said yes, and I feel like when you have people like Jeff, like Ophira Eisenberg, who is in the show, Jim Newman, all these people who just care about the content itself and the messages behind it, the sets will always feel superior because you're
Mm.
coming together for something you care about. No matter how much money there is, which in this no money, but so like, you do it for love. You do it for love, not for the money. So, and they they showed up just like they would for any major project and treated it as such. And so, and I think, yeah, the community aspect around it was really special this time. There was a second part of your question, and I don't remember the second part of your question right now.
No, I tend to have 3-part to 12-part questions, so that's okay. I don't even remember it at this point, so we're okay. But we'll keep going on. I mean, the humor in the show often comes from like that discomfort and vulnerability that the characters have that show it so well. I mean, Katie is Alex. How can you be that funny when your life is doing nothing? And she just makes it look so much fun. How do you know when a scene has that right balance of funny and emotional truth?
I think it is that subversion. I think if I feel like I have successfully flipped something. So even that right there, someone doing nothing becomes entertaining, right? So how can you keep subverting in this cycle and just keep going to where, I mean, I'd say the premise of the show, obviously you have like young New Yorkers trying to make it. Okay, sounds generic beyond words. So how do you make the show ultra specific? And that is through relationships, that's through real lived experiences, that's through these authentic moments or that feel authentic anyway. So like first episode, setting up them kind of resetting up their relationship for everyone, reminding, everyone who they are. You have them talking together in the bathroom. Tyler is hands down on the toilet, and Alex is sitting on her phone on the tub. They're just having a normal conversation, and I think like things like that. It's like how can you subvert a conversation or a situation and also show nuance? So I don't think you need more than that scene to see how close they are, to see their relationship, maybe a little too close at times, and so, kind of exploring fun things like that, and again, like, with the cast being just so talented and bringing their own funny and then me getting to write for them, I think it's just kind of a lovely marriage of all that.
It's so good, and I just love the way you handle it so great. Now, and I can't believe, and I've kind of sung those 3 praises. You got to give me. I didn't write down who plays your naked yogi. Who is that? He's amazing. So much fun, especially.
Christopher Trapinski, yes,
Oh
a
my
lot of
god!
I mean, he's bearing it all, so you gotta give him his props.
And he does it so straight. It's so great. It's just like the comedy is in the straight lacedness of it all. It's so sincere.
He was the out of the leads in the 1st season, he was the one I knew going in, so
Too much fun. I love that.
yeah, we go way back. I love that man, he's so funny.
Well, you all deserve such great props for bringing this back. And like you said, the production is ramped up. The story was always there in the beginning. The story is great. We'll go back to Money and How to Get It. Let's work on a couple of your other projects, because I did mention in the intro. Talk about doing these other projects for you. You've had a lot of this stuff in between. Best Acting Awards for plays you write. That's got to feel kind of good, right?
It doesn't feel bad, I'll say that. It doesn't feel bad. Yeah, the plays and Candace and I mean, honestly, during the pandemic, it was a big writing cycle for me, that kinda pushed me to write more, to finish projects, and there's several projects I've written in the past few years that are still to come. So, it was a great creative time for me amongst the negative of the of what was happening in the world. But yeah, what I first desired, my play was kind of the first big, I guess, project post-pandemic that I did. And that so I mentioned that there was a play originally in the 2nd season.
Right.
That was it.
Really?
I
Oh my.
stripped it from Don't Suck, and, it was kinda funny because I had written it purely for Don't Suck, fell in love with it, though, in its own right, but I think as you should. I'm honestly so in love with this musical within the show, I can't it's so baffling to me that it's in the show. I'm in love with it. But this play, I was like, I I don't know. There's just something about, and so I happened upon this. I think it was on Instagram, but it's something about Soho Playhouse, their off Broadway competition that was new
Yeah.
that year. It was the first year they were doing it. And I was like, I wonder if I could take What I First Desired and make it into a one act from what I have in the show, because I had essentially written the show in full, but just chunks were in the series. And so I did, and it worked out well. It was a winner of that festival. We got to perform it again. I got to extend it, and now I've extended into a full length 2 act, and that was really exciting. And then that kind of got me to write Bonded, which is something really special to me. That show, I feel like what Don't Suck originally started as wanting to focus on theme, on advocacy, on doing something good in the world. Bonded is really a culmination of all that.
Mm.
I got to work with this beautiful organization called Men Healing. They provide resources for sexual assault survivors and specifically men or male identifying individuals. And the show revolves around sexual assault, and so I got to do that show a couple times so far, with me opposite Bellamy Young from Scandal and a bazillion other things. She's incredible to work with, and yeah, such a great talent. And got to work with Thomas Crusoe, a really lovely director here who I adore with all my little heart. And we raised a lot of money for Men Healing, like you mentioned, over
Right.
30,000 with just those 2 readings. And so really exciting work. And I'm I get asked a lot of like, do you like theater or film more? Do you like theater or film more? And, and I don't know. I don't really have an answer, but I love both dearly for different reasons. And I think there is something exciting about theater, in the way that you get to exchange in real time with audience, and with those plays in particular, it's felt very special just because of the content and the subject matter.
Oh, and I just love your diversity, Tyler. I mean, like I said, you take these deep subjects, but you're willing to kind of play with things. I saw a couple things coming down the pike for you. You have Checking In, which has two queer women going through love and loss. Only Mortals Can Be Heroes. You're a lead in, and that's about addiction and everything. I mean, you really aren't afraid to tackle heavy subjects, but raise money while doing it and just elevate it to the next level. So congratulations on you for doing all that.
I appreciate that. I mean, that's definitely what I want to be doing. That is my bread and butter. So the more I can do that, the happier I'll be, and also just the better off everyone is, I think. I think that's what good art does, is doing good for other people. So the more I can strive and push for that, then yeah, I think the better I'll be.
Well, you have this plethora of talent. You're going to have to come back because all of these upcoming projects, walkie talking is sounds interesting. I want to hear about all this in upcoming episodes, but let's finish things up a little bit of 5 questions with. Are you ready for some random questions?
Let us do it.
All right, here we go, my new friend. 5 questions with Tyler Isaac Martin. The first question, question number 1. The title is Don't Suck of your new or your second season of your series. So be honest with my listeners. What is one thing you are surprisingly bad at?
Oh God, God, God. I mean, the first thing I thought of, even because I was just fidgeting, is sitting still. I'm terrible at sitting still. I annoyingly so. Even with friends, I'm like, what activity are we doing? I can't just like sit and chill.
That is very hard for a lot of, especially creative people. All right, question number 2, Tyler. You are a New York creative now. What is the most only in New York thing that's happened to you in your time there?
Oh, God. Actually, something. Okay, yeah. This is a great question. Something that happened in before the first season that I actually wrote into the first season, but it got cut. It's not in there. But I just thought about it. yesterday was I was in a Buffalo Wild Wings at the urinal, and this guy came up to the other urinal, started peeing, and then literally asked me if I knew Jesus, and then started inviting me to this church downtown. And I was like, what the hell is going on in this Buffalo Wild Wings? That's not even there anymore. It was like by Times Square. It's not there now. But yeah, that was a hard New York hit, I feel like, in a few ways.
That is hilarious. Dude, I'm losing the stream. Keep your Jesus on your side of the urinal. Oh my God.
Just
That
one
is
second.
funny. All right, let's get back to Don't Sucks, Tyler. Which sucks more? Bad reviews, bad auditions, or a group text that suddenly goes silent?
I'm gonna say bad auditions, I think is my final answer. Yes. I think bad auditions because it's on you fully.
And you
Like
think
the
about
other
them forever, right? You second guess.
God, oh yeah. I mean, the amount that your brain, or any for me anyway, the amount my brain shuts off in an audition setting is just ridiculous. So I'm like, yeah, once I leave, I'm like coming out of a blackout essentially. I'm like, what just happened in there? So yeah. But also you're just fully responsible. Whereas the other two, I could maybe argue that responsibility wouldn't be all yours, but yeah, that auditions just suck.
Nice. All right, question number 4, Tyler. If you could cast one Muppet and one random celebrity on the street moment, what favorite New York restaurant scene in Don't Suck, or which Muppet would you want? What restaurant, which Muppet would you feature in Don't Suck Season 2?
This is such a fun question. Miss Piggy, hands down. That's no question. Um, that's really hard. I One that keeps popping in my head is Empanada Mama, just because it's such an institution. In Hell's Kitchen is the OG location. So good. It's open late, so even after the clubs, you can go and have an empanada. And I guess for story purposes, that would be nifty because you can have some fun story happen at 4 a.m. at an empanada place.
I like that. And what celebrity would you like to have a casual run in with on the series?
Oh gosh. I would say like casual run-in. Oh, this is so hard. This is so hard. I'm gonna do a deep cut here for anyone out there. I'm gonna do someone I never think of, but is popping in my head right now. Jeremy Sumpter, who was Peter Pan
I
when
love
I was a kid. I had the biggest crush on him. So I'm gonna say Jeremy Sumpter with a little asterisk and say if he's not available, Kelly Clarkson, because being from Texas, she grew up like 30 minutes from my hometown. I'm a pretty big Kelly Clarkson fan. So if I could have her literally for 2 seconds, my all my little gay dreams would be fulfilled.
Well said. Whoever does not like Kelly Clarkson is in big trouble in my book. All right, question number
Same.
5, Taylor. Finish this sentence. The most Tyler Isaac Martin thing about me is.
Uh, oh God, that's a hard question. I mean, probably that I try to do too much. The multi hyphenate thing, but also just I do try to do a lot, and that's kind of the other end of that me not wanting to sit still thing. I guess I'm always like, yeah, let's do this, let's go.
Always has an iron in the fire. I like it. Very good.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler Isaac Martin, you made it through 5 questions. Let's remind everybody the season 2 of Don't Suck is on YouTube now. There's also a special merchandise and a special unrated version. You can tell them where they can find all this fun stuff.
Yeah, for uncensored, free on YouTube version of the show, it is youtube.com/don't suck series. And then for the uncensored plus merch and other membership perks, you can go to don'tsuckseries.com.
And to keep track of yourself and all these upcoming projects we talked about, where they can find you on social media, my friend. And you have a great website, too. Give me your website.
Yeah, Tyler Isaac Martin is my handle, and then also that is the website, tylerisaacmartin.com. Isaac is spelled Isaac. I feel like no one knows how to spell that, so I like to make sure people are. I got you. I got you with the spelling.
There you go. Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We have to have you back. Thank you so much for taking the time today to speak with us. I appreciate you, my friend.
Scott, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing what you do and spreading queer joy and giving a platform for all these amazing artists and people that you have on your show. Thank you so much.
Well, back at you with everything you're creating for all those amazing artists as well. Stay in line for me, Tyler. We'll be back next week because if it's Tuesday, it's time for an all-new Left of Straight Show interview. Do all that fun stuff, hit the subscribe button and the notifications. We will see you next time right here on Left of Straight Podcast. Bye, everyone.